Hello. Welcome to Colombia Chronicles in English. In this channel, we tell real stories from Colombia. We speak slowly, and we use easy English. Our goal is to help you learn English while you discover Colombia's past. Are you ready? Let's begin today's story. The Corner. Life in a Dangerous Neighborhood. A story from 1990s Colombia. Easy English Audiobook. Chapter 1. The Hill. It was 1993. In the middle of the mountains, there was a neighborhood called La Noma. It was not on the map. It was not in books. But it was real. Very real. There were houses made of bricks. Some were painted blue, some green. Others had no paint, just walls and hope. The streets were narrow. Some were dirt. Some had broken pavement. At night, the dogs barked. During the day, the children played. At the top of the hill was a soccer field. It was not flat. One side was lower. When it rained, it turned to mud. But the boys loved it. Corner of the field, next to a mango tree, there was a stone wall. The wall had a crack. Inside the crack was a small drawing. A boy had drawn it many years ago. A face with no eyes, just a mouth. A sad mouth. No one knew who drew it, but everyone had seen it. Some said it was a boy who left. Some said it was a boy who died. In La Loma, stories like that were common. People disappeared. People died. But life went on. The kids kept playing. The music kept playing. And the sun still rose over the mountains. Now, meet the boys. There were 4 of them. They were always together. They were the soul of the corner. Nico, the artist. He was 14. He had big eyes and small hands. He liked to draw with charcoal. Old newspapers were his canvas. His father was a mechanic. His mother sold arepas. Chucho, the joker. He was 15. He was never quiet. He always had something to say. He lived with his grandmother. His parents had left when he was 8. He said they lived in Caracas, but no one knew for sure. Donnie, the strong one, he was 16. He spoke little, but played football like a machine. He carried his little sister to school every morning. She was 5 years old and had asthma. Donnie took care of her like a father. El Flaco, the fast one. He was 15 and very tall. Too tall for his age. He ran faster than anyone in the barrio. Everyone said he could be on a real team, if he stayed alive. They were poor, but they were not sad. They had each other. They had their dreams. And they had La Esquina, the corner. The corner was just a wall and a bench, but it was their world. They met there every afternoon, after school, after work, after everything. They sat, they talked, they laughed. Sometimes they smoked. Sometimes they shared a mango. Sometimes they just sat in silence, watching the city lights below. They watched the city grow. They watched the sky change colors. And they waited. They waited for something. But what were? Were they waiting for a chance, a miracle, a way out? Because deep down they knew the truth. If you stay too long in La Loma, you become part of it. The walls knew your name. The shadows remembered your face in the corner. It was not just a meeting place. It was a test. Who would leave? Who would disappear? Who would survive? Chapter 2. Childhood in La Loma was different. It was not like the movies. There were no toys from stores, no vacations, no ice cream trucks. But there was joy, and there was imagination. The boys grew up with very little, but they made something out of nothing. They played soccer with plastic balls. Sometimes they used a crushed soda bottle. They made goals with bricks, and referees, they didn't need them. They shouted at each other and laughed. Nico's first memory was of his mother washing clothes in a big plastic bin. She sang softly while rubbing the soap. He sat next to her, drawing faces in the dirt with a stick. He liked quiet moments. His house had 2 rooms and a small kitchen. There was one bed for him and his brother. He didn't care. At night he listened to the radio and dreamed. Chucho was different. He was always outside, always talking, always moving. They once turned an old TV into a control center. He pretended to be a detective, with a broken phone and a notebook. He made up crimes and solved them all. Chucho's grandma said he was full of smoke, but she kissed his forehead every night. She prayed for him in silence. She knew the streets didn't play fair. Donnie never talked about his father. Some said he died in a fight. Others said he joined the army and never came back. Donnie only said one thing: "My job is to protect my sister." His sister Lucy had big eyes and weak lungs. Sometimes she coughed until her face turned red. Donnie gave her his own dinner when food was low. He was more than a brother. He was her shield. Flaco's childhood was a race, running from school, running to buy bread, running from bullies, running from sirens. He ran everywhere. That's why people called him El Flaco Volador, the flying skinny one. He had dreams of joining Atlético Nacional one day. He imagined a stadium full of people shouting his name. But he also had a brother, a silent brother, who worked for the men with guns. Flaco never talked about him. He just looked away when people asked. In the mornings the boys went to school, but not always. Sometimes there was no money for uniforms. Sometimes it was too dangerous to leave the house. Teachers came and went. Some cared, some didn't. One teacher, Doña Teresa, always brought extra food. She said, "Full bellies learn better than empty ones." The boys loved her. When she didn't show up one day, they waited and waited. She never came back. There was one rule in childhood: stay away from the red house. It was on the edge of the neighborhood. Its windows were always closed. Music played at night, loud and strange. Men with dark glasses came and left. Sometimes cars with tinted windows arrived. No one knocked. They just walked in. The boys called it the Silent House. One time, Chucho tried to go near. Flaco grabbed him and said, "If you go close, you never come back." But there were good things, too. Mango season, laughing with your head back, finding a coin on the street, a new slingshot made from a tree branch, a kiss from a girl near the school wall. Those moments made La Loma feel like a kingdom. For just a few seconds, the war disappeared. Sometimes the boys climbed to the very top of the hill. From there they could see the city lights, the tall buildings, the cars, the mountains behind them. Chucho once said, "From here, everything looks beautiful." And Flaco replied, "Because we're far from it." Childhood was short in La Loma, too short. By 12, most boys had jobs. By 13, some carried knives. By 14, they knew the names of local drug dealers. By 15, some were gone. But our 4 boys, they were still here, still dreaming, still climbing mango trees, still drawing faces in the dirt, still hoping. Chapter 3. The Days of the Corner. Easy English audiobook, based on real events in 1990s Colombia. In La Loma, days were all the same, but also each day was different. The boys woke up early. Some went to school, others went to work. Sometimes they just stayed home. There was no schedule, only survival. But no matter what, they always met at the corner. The corner was more than just a place. It was their home outside home. It was their world. A stone bench, a mango tree, a wall with graffiti. That was enough. In the morning, Donnie walked his sister to school. She held his hand tightly. She didn't talk much. She just looked around, alert, like a bird watching for danger. In the afternoon, Nico sat at the corner with his drawings. He sketched faces, buildings, shoes, trees, shadows. Sometimes he used charcoal, other times just a blue pen. He gave his drawings to kids in the neighborhood. One girl taped his drawing to her bedroom window. She said, "This makes my wall happy." Chucho always came loud. He arrived with a joke, with a soda, with gossip. He knew who kissed who got in trouble at school, and who was hiding a gun. He made the others laugh, even when they didn't want to. Flaco came late most days. He ran up the hill, sweating and smiling. He said he was training, but everyone knew he was running away from something. Some afternoons they kicked a ball. Sometimes they shared a cigarette. Other days they just sat and said nothing. They watched clouds. They counted motorcycles. They made up stories about strangers who walked by. "That guy has a gun," Chucho would say. "No, he's just old," said Nico. "But his eyes," Danny whispered. "Those eyes have seen things." The corner was their movie theater. Everything passed by. Everything happened there. One day, a woman ran down the street screaming. She held her stomach, blood on her shirt. A man followed her, with a machete. The boys didn't move. They didn't say a word. They just looked at each other. All of other was each other. The next day, nobody talked about it. That's how things worked in La Loma. See everything, say nothing. But not every day was like that. There were good days, too. One day it rained all afternoon. The boys made a game out of catching raindrops. They laughed so much the neighbors smiled. Even the men on the corner with cold eyes smiled. Another day, Nico found a stray dog with a hurt leg. He took it home, fed it, named it Tiza, Chalk. The dog stayed with the group for months, until it vanished one night, just like people did. At the corner, time moved differently. Minutes felt long, but years passed fast. When they first met there, they were boys. Now, they were becoming men, too fast. They started noticing changes. Chucho had a scar on his hand. He said it was from falling, but no one asked too much. Flaco got quieter. He wore new shoes, but never said where they came from. He started looking over his shoulder more often. Donnie began working full-time at a metal. He smelled of iron and smoke, but he still came every evening. Nico kept drawing, but now his drawings had more shadows, more sad faces, more men with no eyes. The boys didn't say it aloud, but they all knew something was coming. Something was changing. Something dark. The corner had eyes. It listened. It whispered. And slowly, it stopped feeling safe. Chapter 4. The Fall of the Corner. Days passed after the shooting. The corner was never the same. The boys didn't laugh like before. The streets felt different, colder, quieter. Some kids stopped coming outside. Mothers looked out their windows with fear. The sound of motorcycles made everyone nervous. Danny couldn't stop thinking about what happened to Chucho. His voice, his smile, how fast he changed. He was gone now. No one said his name. It was dangerous. Nico stopped drawing. His notebook stayed closed. He spent more time at home. Even Flaco started working at a mechanic shop far from the neighborhood. He came by less often. When he did, he barely spoke. He looked older, more serious. One day, a truck passed by with tinted windows. Everyone froze. The men inside stared out. No one dared move. The truck left, but the message was clear. The corner didn't belong to them anymore. At school, Danny's teachers noticed the change. He used to be lively and curious. Now he stared out the window, lost in thought. His grades dropped. He didn't talk much. Only his eyes told the story. Danny's mom told him to stay away from the block. "It's not safe anymore," she said. "I won't lose you, too." One evening, Nico came to Danny's house. They sat in silence, drinking a guapanella. Then Nico spoke. "Do you think it will ever go back to how it was?" Danny shook his head. "No, that time is gone." Nico nodded slowly. "I still draw sometimes, but it's different now, darker." At night, Danny lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. He missed the old days. He missed his friends, the music, the jokes. The corner was gone, and it would never come back. But memories stayed. The smell of fried empanadas on the street, the echo of a soccer ball bouncing off a wall, the way the boys laughed until their stomachs hurt. Those were treasures he kept deep in his heart. Second or Chapter 5. Years later. 10 years had passed. Danny was now a young man. He lived far away, in a quiet town. He worked in a small bookstore. Every day he drank coffee and helped people find books. Life was simple and calm, but sometimes his mind drifted. One rainy afternoon, he opened an old box. Inside, he found Nico's notebook. He hadn't seen it in years. The pages were full of drawings, faces, streets, bikes, games, the corner. Some pages were stained with tears. Others had small notes, names, jokes, secrets. He closed the shop early and took a bus to La Loma. The neighborhood had changed. There were new buildings, painted walls, and a park where the corner used to be. Children played without fear. An old woman swept her porch. A dog barked happily. Danny walked slowly, recognizing old spots. The wall where they painted graffiti, the corner where Chucho told jokes, the stairs they sat on during hot afternoons. He saw a young boy riding a bike. He smiled, remembering how they used to race down the hill. Danny sat on a bench. He smiled. Memories filled his heart. Pain and joy mixed together. An older man walked by and nodded. "You're not from around here, are you?" "I used to be," Danny replied. The man smiled. "A lot has changed, but some things stay. The spirit is still here." Danny opened the notebook. He showed the man a drawing of the old corner. "I remember this spot," the man said. "Used to be wild." Danny nodded. "We were just kids, but we thought we were kings." The man laughed softly and walked away. Danny whispered to the wind, "We were just kids." And for a moment, it felt like the corner lived again. Not in the buildings, not in the street, but in the stories, the drawings, and the hearts of those who survived. The end.